Get real, everyone. It's Deep Dive Zone, the Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Evan, joined as always by Lauren and Bruce. And we got more Sonic comics today.
We can't escape them.
They just kept making them.
I know.
Listen, we got like 7 episodes of comics left. No, it's
More than that, I think.
Yeah, I think it's 9. Anyway, today we've got some interesting ones. You know, I never feel like I'm never saying we've got good comics, but maybe I'll say that next week. Starting with Sonic the Hedgehog number 116 here, and oh my god, it's Rouge.
It's so random. I never expected that.
Out of nowhere.
And before Shadow too.
That's true.
It's not even the logical choice of the thing to bring in from Sonic Adventure.
I know.
But whatever, man.
I mean, whatever. It's nice to see at least one of the characters actually being a character.
And hey, we've got Bunny on the cover too. So you know, there's two thumbs up to start with at least. I'm not sure why they're attacking each other, but
I guess we'll have to find out.
It's just a cover. They probably don't even fight.
Well, we'll have to see in the issue.
Yeah, this is Operation Off Switch, written by Benny Lee and drawn by Ron Lim, wherein Sonic and Bunny are called to Station Square to investigate the abandoned old megapolis where Eggman is rumored to be rebuilding his city.
It's interesting. I for some reason I was thinking Megapolis had been destroyed at some point.
It was just abandoned.
I guess just abandoned.
I mean, I can't remember. Well, obviously it wasn't destroyed. But
no.
If you had told me that before now, I might have thought maybe Robotnik destroyed it in a rage because he went there and found it was abandoned. But right. I guess he just left it, which makes sense.
I mean, that makes more sense.
I mean, it probably got wrecked up some amount during the war, right?
Sure.
Obviously, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so Eggman's holed up in a old abandoned city somewhere in North America, and he's got this horribly clunky temporary body while he repairs.
We don't get to see it until later, really. We just get a little glimpse. But I must say, I love this, actually. I love this.
I mean, it makes sense that he'd have to, you know, while he rebuilds a regular Eggman body, he needs something, like, quickly.
Yeah, I mean, he did get nuked, so...
Right. I mean, he's got to rebuild a body somewhere that isn't irradiated.
Yeah, I guess this is the reason he's been out of the picture for so long, which, yeah, I suppose that makes sense. I hadn't thought of that.
I guess so, but, like, it doesn't help you from missing him.
Well, it was such a random one-off that they did it, so it was just weird.
Right.
Yeah.
And, well, Station Square sent Rouge in there to investigate, but then she just kind of disappeared, so now it's Sonic and Bunny's problem, apparently.
Which... That seems like a bit of a, not random to pair up, but like, why specifically only these two? Why not all the Freedom Fighters?
It makes me wonder, like, how did they call them? Like, did Sally get a call? Did the King? You know, it's like, how did they get specifically Sonic and Bunny and not ask anybody else? Or...
did the president call, directly contact Sally and say, hey, we need you guys, but only these two Freedom Fighters in specific?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I mean, they are the two strongest, you know. And
well, yeah, I mean, these two... Yeah, I mean, these two probably maybe throw Antoine in as well, because he's probably the most proficient with a weapon.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Freedom Fighters have not been taking Eggman seriously for a while.
That's true.
So I feel like they got called, and they're like, Sonic Bunny, you can deal with it. It's fine. That's all you need. The rest of us can do whatever the heck we're doing.
Yeah, the rest of us can do whatever it is that these characters do. Yeah. Now,
I do like that Sonic's like, well, why didn't, you know, if this is an Eggman problem, why did you bother sending anybody other than us? You should know that we're the plot relevant ones.
Well, also they're the ones who have the most experience.
Yeah, no, because Rouge never fights Eggman in any of the games released up to this point. I think.
Right.
Is Heroes out yet? I don't know.
He would have experience, though,
I don't think Heroes
with how he operates, because
that's true.
I mean, we have no idea how it plays out here, to be honest.
Well, we don't...
But I assume it's like the game.
Yeah, we don't know how much of SA2's plot actually happened here. We assume it was most of it.
Yeah. I do like that the president, after Sonic says that, he, like, falls to the ground groveling.
I can't believe that he's actually being serious. He's just playing to Sonic's ego.
I don't understand this moment. It reminds me of the bit when there's like the tension between the soldiers, and then
Oh,
never gets
yeah.
resolved because there's like this tension here. Like the president is super on edge, and then never gets resolved.
I mean, again, to me, it just kind of feels like the president is just doing it to play to Sonic's ego, which kind of fails because Sonic immediately is just like, I was just joking, man.
I like
I
to
mean,
think that this really is, sort of another version of the same dude we saw in Shadow the Hedgehog, where he's just so apologetic to Sonic that he would keep a photo of him on his desk instead of, wife and children or something.
Hey, maybe he's single. Maybe he doesn't have a wife and children.
This version doesn't track with that. Well, does it? Let me think about this.
I feel like we haven't seen enough of this version.
It's hard to say.
We've seen him a little bit, but like it's mostly just been him telling the freedom fighters what to go do, what they want them to go do.
Have we ever elected a bachelor as president? I actually don't know.
I think like once.
Okay.
And yeah, I think.
Well, anyway, so they set out toward Old Megapolis, and, well, there's a shitty Statue of Liberty here, which means it was Earth all along, I guess.
This is the first indication in this story that actually points to this having been Earth. You've said it all along, very matter of factly.
I theorized it pretty much since the beginning, since it kind of seemed like it was a post-apocalyptic anyway.
Well,
I mean, you can always theorize that in a lot of stories, but
but like there were to me there was already plenty of evidence that this is more than likely a post-apocalyptic Earth.
There's huge amounts of
post-apocalyptic
humanoid stuff, and that's your earlier indication. And I think it's because the visual language of post-apocalypse is all over here without them actually saying it. But yes, this is the obvious, like, oh, it's New York.
So okay. to me, the better description of this would be the post-apocalypse. This is not like this isn't really an apocalypse story. This is just like civilization's already risen again in after the apocalypse.
Yeah, we're so far past the end of the world that we're at another world.
Yeah, we're at the midpoint of another world.
Yeah, and basically nobody remembers the old world, so.
Well, yeah, because I'm guessing most of the people from the old world died.
Yeah. Well, by now, yeah.
Well,
I'd like to clarify that I simply meant I didn't believe that it was our world necessarily. I did believe there could have been a human civilization beforehand.
Sure.
But this indicates that it could be our world.
Statue of Liberty's like, yeah, that's Earth.
Anywho,
I didn't expect to see the ruins of New York, though. That was kind of surprising.
Yeah, so we're in old New York, and we're kind of just racing around while some missiles and dangerous things happen.
So it's a little sparse, but that's good for Sonic because it means he gets to run around a lot.
Honestly, this story is very little, and I guess it's to make room for the other story in this issue. I'm not sure, because
I guess
we basically just have Sonic run around until he finds Eggman.
That's not that uncommon for these stories.
That's true. And I mean, like, there isn't a whole lot going on, but I mean, there are a lot of pages of not a lot going on. But I mean, it's not bad. I mean, there's neat action here. I don't really have much to comment on it.
I mean, this feels like not that long ago, this would have also had some, like, expository writing in it or something. Get Sonic to talk about something while he's running around other than what's happening second to second.
I much prefer not having that, so yes.
Well, I'm not saying I want it. It's kind of what I expect out of these comics.
No, true. And it fits here because Eggman doesn't exactly have a lot at his disposal, as evidenced by the aforementioned body here, which, I love this. The writers are really getting creative with Robo Robotnik finally, because like the dude just takes and makes a human body, and I'm like, so basic. Get creative. Now, I mean, it's by necessity here, but yeah,
he's stuck like this right now.
He's got this partial body with just like stubs of shoulders on like an extendable arm, and then his actual arm is separate and attacks Sonic separately. This is great. I love this.
Well, if anything, I feel like a Robo Robotnik would be more like this, where he's like an AI integrated into his entire base.
It's kind of like the Sigma virus in Mega Man X, where it's not one thing, but a thing that can spread and be multiple. Yeah, so it's a fun little thing here, and I like Sonic having to dodge one arm while Eggman is just kind of watching him from across the room because it's the only arm he has.
Right.
Yeah, that would be great. If not for the fact that our conclusion is straight out of Looney Tunes or Tom and Jerry, maybe.
It is decidedly abrupt, and
It is
I
kind of
find that a little
abrupt.
annoying. But I once again can't get too mad because it kind of fits. I mean, Eggman's acting like, he's his usual over the top self. He greets him so gleefully, being like, "If I known you were coming, I'd have baked a cake." Even though he's really not ready at all, and so I could totally see, yeah, Simple Bomb takes him out.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, no,
just
it
shove a
makes
stick of
sense right
dynamite in
now.
his mouth.
Yeah, it makes sense right in the state that Eggman's in right now.
Yeah, and I guess I do like the fact that the reason he can't take it out of his mouth is because he doesn't have an arm to do it.
Right, Sonic
Right.
just fucked up the other arm.
Yeah,
Or his only arm, excuse me.
and so Eggman explodes. For now, it doesn't really matter. He'll be back later, but
Sure.
Mhm.
that's
Well,
our first story.
Yeah, and that's our third Eggman body destroyed.
I think so.
See, he lost his first one.
Well, actually, if you're counting the very, very first one,
Oh,
if you count that
okay.
canon, then it's
Yeah.
4.
That's true. I was just counting based off of when he showed up just at the end of the classic stuff.
Yeah,
We
post
read-
return
Robo
is
Robotnik.
3.
Oh yeah, Robo Robotnik.
And that whole shenanigans. Well, we don't know if there's more than one Robo Robotnik, but we're not going to worry about it.
Yeah, we don't need to keep going on that because we're never gonna figure it out.
Yeah, instead, let's look at our second story here, which is called Bat Fight, written by Ballers and drawn by Jay Axer. And my summary for this just says, Rouge and Bunny have a misunderstanding.
I guess, yeah.
Well, so this is just an excuse to have Rouge and Bunny fight and have
Right.
the slightly horny artist draw it, maybe? Because the
Yeah.
justification for this fight is incredibly sparse.
Yeah, Rouge just runs up and decks Bunny in the fucking mouth.
Yeah, she's just hanging around, and she's like, "Oh,
Bunny just
that-
says hi.
yeah." She's just like, "Howdy," she's like, "Hello, you're the person
I
we
mean,
were sent to look for."
I
And
guess
then just-
no. Well, I guess Rouge has a bit of reasoning. She does give a bit of reasoning, like it's a cyborg probably programmed by Robotnik.
That's not how cyborgs
So,
work.
No,
here's the thing. The thing that gets me is not that. I understand why Rouge would attack initially. It's that Bunny does not attempt to explain herself at all. She just fights. And then the rest of her lines before Sonic shows up at the end are just taunts. Like, they're just... It seems like they just want to fight, honestly. That's the way it comes off.
Yeah, the writers just decided, yeah, no, we're just gonna have these two fight, so they do it.
I mean, it's good art at least.
Yeah, it's good art. I'm not complaining, but like the reasoning for the fight is so fragile.
Yeah, on both sides, if I'm honest. Like, Lauren is right that like Bunny is worse than Rouge, but I don't think Rouge is
yeah.
as good.
No, Bunny should have been spent the entire fight trying to tell Rouge, we're here to find you, dumbass.
Yeah.
I'm
But,
not too... we don't know Rouge very well, so like that's why I'm not
Right.
really complaining on that side.
I guess.
Yeah.
The thing that really gets me is that Sonic shows up and it's like, "What are you doing, you idiots?" And they're like, "Oh, sorry," and they just
Yeah.
stop instantly.
Oh, so
Yeah.
why couldn't Sonic show up sooner?
He was busy
Why
dealing
couldn't
with
they
Eggman,
just
I assume.
stop sooner? Like that's all it took.
It would have been
I
funny if they
guess.
had Eggman break up the fight.
Eggman's like, come on, guys, you're not supposed to beat yourselves up. I'm supposed to beat you up.
You're honing in on my territory. But yeah, utterly pointless story that
It
again,
feels like it's just here for the art, honestly.
it just feels like an excuse
Yeah.
to let Axer draw Bunny punching Rouge in the boob.
I mean, it's good art. I'm not going to complain.
No, but it totally does feel a little like fan service. I don't know.
Oh,
It's
it definitely
weird.
does feel kind of fan servicey.
And
Well,
I'll go to
you've
anime
got
if
the
that's
fan
what I want.
service character here.
Well, yeah, we have Rouge, who's already basically fan service incarnate, and
yeah,
like at least half of the time, Bunny is also.
If they wanted to cover it up, they should have switched the artists for this issue and had Ron Lim draw this one.
God, no.
Well, it would have meant that we would have had Axer drawing the main story, though, you know? And maybe he'd be able to make an even grosser Robot Eggman. You don't know.
I mean, that's true.
But
true. I do think this was the better choice.
Yeah, this was the much better choice. Because, you know, having the actual fist fight be drawn by a competent artist is probably a good idea.
Yeah. Anyway.
Also, why can't Bunny just, like, immediately put Rouge in the ground? She's got robot limbs.
Yeah, she should be able to crush your head.
Well, okay, Bunny probably isn't trying to kill Rouge.
No, I know. I
suppose.
know.
I suppose.
Okay, maybe more so.
Back because Rouge.
Yeah. Well, okay, maybe more so. Maybe more. Did you call her a fleshy?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure I heard that right.
Not cyborg.
No, I know. I just wanted to make sure I heard that correctly. No, but okay, but Bunny could still end the fight pretty easily.
See, okay, so that goes again into my theory that I said earlier, which is they seem like they just want to fight.
Yeah, maybe they're just fucking
pent up.
They both have a lot of pent up anger for no apparent reason.
Well, it's weird because I would guess that these two characters hate each other, but they've never interacted before, so.
I mean, maybe the only reason I guess the only reason Bunny's fighting is because Rouge instigated, so self-defense.
She just goes real hard on the self-defense.
Yeah.
No, it's really not. That's
no.
Yeah.
Well, at least we have one more story to balance things out. I'm sure it'll be good.
Oh shoot! I forgot. Oh gosh, no.
This is Ultimate Power Midlog the Lesson. Midlog?
A word I've never seen before.
I don't think it's a word.
That's what I thought.
Also, like the fact that they're just saying that, they're not even hiding the padding to these arcs.
Yeah.
They're literally calling it filler, basically.
Yep.
As you might guess, this is Penders, along with Ron Lim. Gruckles has a flashback to when he was a child and learns an important, in parentheses, question mark, lesson from his father to prepare him to handle Dimitri and Mobul, maybe?
That's the idea. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
So Gruckles is time traveling again, back to when he was 8, which I think places that 2 years before Locke fakes his death. Because I believe it was when he was 10.
Damn, Knuckles was 10 when that happened?
I think so, yeah.
No wonder.
Did you forget how terrible Locke is?
I forgot just how terrible Locke is, because no wonder Knuckles is a fucking mess.
Baby Knuckles looks horrible in Ron Lim's style. His head is so wrinkly.
I know. The second page, his forehead is so wrinkly. Yeah. He's also, like, his size keeps fluctuating.
So, there's really not much to be said here.
Yeah, I do not know what to say about any of this.
I can say that the Chaos Emerald is the wrong size.
Yes, it is.
I think they just forgot it wasn't the Master Emerald.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure that is true, but I have to point it out.
I swear I remember there being more than one as well.
There might have been before Locke abandoned Knuckles. Honestly, don't know. But there certainly wasn't, like, before, when Knuckles first showed up.
They've gone back and forth on it, yeah.
Of course.
And yeah, no, this story is a complete, like, question mark, because, like, why are we back in time? Knuckles says that felt too real to be a daydream. Why am I not in a room with Dad and the other Guardians? And I don't know if we get a real answer to that. He's just flashing back to flashback.
I'm confused. He's just time traveling, like you said.
Is it even time travel, or is it just a flashback?
Gruckles still, I think, doesn't have complete control of his abilities, even now. Because otherwise he would just snap his fingers and Mobul would die.
Right.
But he doesn't do that, so.
Yeah, instead, they're just kind of palling around until some Robotnik Robians, I assume, but Locke easily defeats them, tells Knuckles to be careful. I don't know what the point of any of this is. Gruckles steals a quote from Spider-Man. Yeah, he says with great power comes great responsibility. Although, frankly, that line is so used in everything, it's like you wouldn't even... Maybe it's not even originally from Spider-Man, I don't know.
I didn't think
No,
it
I think
was.
Spider-Man's the one that popularized it, though.
Yeah, well, unlike Uncle
Um,
Ben, Grocke... Grocke? I meant to say Locke, but I
Grocke,
said
huh?
Croc.
God, the worst character, Green Lock.
oh gosh, no, please.
Unlike Uncle Ben, Locke is still alive. And suddenly we're back with the
Unfortunately.
Dimitri plot.
Unfortunately.
Well, yeah,
Why?
because we got to get back to the plot eventually. I don't know why Penders writes stories like this. I would love to know. But for
I
some
got
reason, he felt like he wasn't quite ready to continue the plot. And so Gruckles had to think about how terrible things were back then, but he got through it, so he'll get through this too, I
There
guess.
is... There's totally a reason that you could have Locke teaching Knuckles
I
an
mean,
important
sure.
lesson here, because I know what's going to happen to Gruckles pretty soon, but it's... It's not this. It doesn't have anything to do with it. It's just weird.
Uh-huh.
So that's that issue.
Yep.
A bit of an enigma ending.
Yeah.
It always
Well,
is when it ends with Gruckles.
That's
let's
fucking true.
let's not worry. Number 117 is certain to be less weird. Oh my god, what is that?
That's the cover
I
of the issue.
yeah, which I'm gonna be honest, I didn't understand until just now looking at it again.
It's ambiguous on purpose.
Yeah.
He's pulling off the skin of another person.
It's not skin. I knew that from the first moment I looked at it.
I know.
Well, so I mean, the problem is though, like, if you haven't read the issue already, you have
But
no idea what you're looking at.
Well, that is true.
You're obviously not going to think it's skin because this is
Well,
a
no,
Sonic the
obviously.
Hedgehog comic, not a Silence of the Lambs comic. But
Let's say it's not skin yet.
I'm just gonna ignore that one. But yeah, we have that, and then we have this awesome Axer drawing of Gruckles versus Mobul. Mobul? What is it with me and names today? Mogul.
I
Damn,
I really like Mogul in this picture. Knuckles looks a little odd in my opinion. I don't know. His body looks too much like an eggplant.
Yeah, he's built a bit like a fucking bean.
Yeah, his legs are just kind of sticking out like Mr. Potato Head limbs. And also, he appears to be, like, is he crying? The tears are coming
That's
out of the
also
top of his
strange.
eye.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's used so much power that he's sad.
Maybe.
I love these that they do inner cover drawings. So this is a really cool new thing. I don't know if I mentioned that before.
Well, we start off with not much of a story, but something here. This is Cyber Race, starring Dr. Robotnik, so you know we're off to a good start.
Oh, hell yes. Eggman-centered story? I didn't even think they would do this, but this is awesome. Yeah, I'm ready for this.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, dude. Have we gotten an Eggman or Robotnik-centered story before?
I don't know, something in there
I
probably.
think we might have gotten like one of those one-page ones.
That's probably
it doesn't really count, and it was just a complete joke.
Right.
This one, though, is interesting. It's Ballers and Butler. Following their last defeat at the hands of Sonic, Eggman and Snively navigate the digital realm before fashioning new robotic bodies for themselves.
This is this is always an interesting concept, seeing cyberspace.
Yeah, I love this. This is a great setup.
It's a cool idea, especially this kind of goes with what I was saying. Like Robotnik should be in like an AI that can control his entire base, just from like his brain or from just thinking about it.
Yeah, and it's the information superhighway. So we've got ones and zeros
Quite
running
literally
across the hills and roads like cars.
Yeah, it's always cool to see how artists represent cyberspace or the internet.
Right, yeah, and I would say this is not one I see very often. I can't think of another example of this exact sort of a thing, so I like this.
Yeah, something like this in specific. I've seen it portrayed as something like a highway or something before, but nothing quite like this.
Yeah, Sonic itself would later do that, but I do like that Snively actually gets caught up by one of the moving binary trains, and Robotnik actually helps him to not get deleted by the antivirus because he needs him for more schemes.
This, yeah, this is interesting. And I suppose this solidifies what you could have guessed way back when Eggman just recruited Snively for seemingly no reason other than just to have fun. And it does
Right.
seem like Eggman legitimately just likes having Snively around at this point, which is that's an interesting change.
I mean,
I appreciate that the dynamic between Snively and Robotnik, original Robotnik, and Snively and Eggman is certainly different. I like that they're differentiating that.
yeah, it's a different dynamic. It's somewhat similar, but it's definitely its own thing.
Right. I must say, I love the illustrations by Butler here. Every frame where Snively or Robotnik is panicking, they just look silly. It's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of personality to it.
Yeah.
Ditto for this next scene, which is hilarious, where Snively makes it out of cyberspace first. He thinks Robotnik didn't make it. That's obviously not true. But he fashions this ultra handsome Chad body for himself.
Which, of course, I mean, what else would Snively do?
It's funny because while I said that Eggman is different to Snively than Robotnik was, Snively seems to not be that different to Eggman. I mean, he doesn't seem to have the raw hatred, but he will still betray him in an instant. Like,
sure.
He thinks he's God. Maybe he doesn't really think he's God. Maybe he just wishes he was God. Either way, he's jumping at the opportunity immediately and not even trying to, like, check.
Yeah, I love handsome Snively, and then I love that he immediately explodes because Eggman only wants one cool guy in his house.
Not just one cool guy, one massive ego.
Yeah, this is where he'll draw the line, which is when Snively does this, which
when Snively's ego eclipses his own. That's
Nobody
fair.
gets to look cooler than me.
Speaking of looking cool,
gorilla.
I didn't actually expect that they would bring back the whole metallic design. So I'm gonna point out that yes, I appreciate that we've got the metallic Eggman again here.
I mean, that definitely makes sense. That his body was just built, so he's gonna be metallic right now.
Right, no paint.
He has to paint his chassis.
Yeah, and well, that's basically it. It's just kind of. Here's the thing, as funny as this story is, it's a patchwork in order to allow Eggman and Snively to appear in the next story.
In the next story, right? They felt the need to explain that. Yeah, no, they're back. Don't worry about it.
Well, it's not just that. It's just the fact that the next story was written before Robotropolis got nuked, so they were like, "Shit.
Oh, shit. Okay."
Yeah,
that is funny. I would never have guessed. Because quite frankly, from the moment I saw starring Dr. Robotnik, I was just having a grand old time. I love this cute little story. Honestly, it's adorable to see these two run around. I did not realize until now that I would legit read a comic series of just Eggman and Snively without like the whole Eggman Empire, but just the two running around,
just an Eggman and Snively sitcom.
Yeah, it would be great.
I mean, I'd probably watch that. That is basically just Pinky in the Brain.
Well, let's see what the story that it was written to service was. It must be incredibly important. This is The Tortoise and the Hedgehog, written by Romy Chacon? I actually have no idea how to pronounce that. And drawn by Art Mawini. A mysterious rabbit travels to a disused Robotnik base to find his friend Tommy Turtle. The villain gang is hiding out there, the Goon Squad as I've called them, and there just might be a conspiracy to uncover? I don't know. But yes, we start out with Juice the Rabbit, he's called.
Gee, I wonder who that is.
Yeah. Before we get into that, always appreciate the continuity of comics.
Sure.
They didn't forget about the ex-convict group here.
No, it's not. I do appreciate that we're seeing the Goon Squad again. I think I'm gonna have to start using that also, Devin.
It's a good term.
Yeah. This 6-pack of miscellaneous action figures we have not seen since Snively split off from them, which we didn't even really see that much of.
No, it just kind of happened.
Yeah. It felt like that plotline didn't really get as much as it could have. So I'm glad that we're getting to see them here now. It seems like, I mean, yeah, they're just a bunch of misfits that have no one else, so they stick with each other, even though they don't seem to completely get along. But evidently, they don't have much choice.
Right. I
Yeah.
think they've come to terms with the idea that they probably need to work together.
I think if I were to complain about it, it's like, yes, I'm glad that they remembered these guys. I wish that they had more to characterize them. The only one that I would say has much of a personality is Drago.
Well, and that's probably just because we've seen the most of him.
The
Yeah,
problem is there's
whereas
too many here
Yeah.
to
Well,
give each of
I
them something.
mean,
yeah,
so many of these characters they like used once and then they got sent to prison.
basically,
Right.
because I don't did they fight the fearsome foursome more than once? They definitely didn't work for Mogul more than once. So it's like,
I don't remember.
I don't even remember, frankly, if Sleuth got that much play. He kind of just betrayed them, and then that was it.
Yeah, he betrayed them and then got sent to prison.
I distinctly remember he had a role in taunting Sonic when he was in prison.
Yeah.
And that was about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sonic got sent to prison, right?
And that was, yeah, that was before Drago betrayed. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
also, this guy, Tommy Turtle, is here. A rather infamous character among fans for different reasons than other characters in these comics. But he's fine, question mark. He's just kind of boring, I guess. He and this rabbit share a literal tortoise and hare backstory.
So I'm trying to figure out why Tommy's even here.
So this is this is the part where I was like, oh, okay, it's Goon Squad again. All right, what's going on? Should be interesting. And then Tommy shows up, and he's just
Yeah.
like a regular friendly turtle.
Yeah,
and,
guy's just here for seemingly no reason.
And I'm like, something's going on here. So I do think that probably the goons here, like, they don't have much of a skill set when it comes to survival. Like, they can threaten people,
Sure.
but that's about it. Like, they can steal stuff. But at a factory here, if this is the only place they could find to hide out, they need some help, like, using the facilities, I guess. I don't know what it produces.
So they're just
but
using him as slave labor.
I assume they seem to be playing nice here, because he's not a prisoner.
Well, so like
It
my
seems
first
like-
thought
sorry.
for some reason was like this was like a bar or something, and
So-
like Tommy was running it, but that's clearly not the case. This is just an abandoned Robotnik base.
So, what I would say is that maybe Tommy was hiding out here on his own, and they just kind of imposed themselves on him, or maybe they kidnapped him because later stuff would retcon that Tommy is, like, kind of okay with machines, so maybe they would use him for that occasionally.
Yeah, that was my thought.
Hey, interesting.
The one thing I can say the goons have, or at least Drago and Sleuth, do have experience going undercover.
True.
So they can totally play the nice guy, and I guess they decided to do that rather than just force the dude. I don't know. I guess that works just as well.
Yeah, they begrudgingly let Juice here in.
Right.
Just to hang out, I guess. I guess he just needs a place to stay for the night.
Those does get explained later, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah. At the moment, he's just saying. No, yeah, he says that he wanted to see his friend. I thought.
Yeah, and I guess they let him have that right.
I mean, at this point, it just seems like they're hanging out. Nothing nefarious. The goons are good guys now.
Obviously.
Yeah, you can tell by Sleuth's cross-eyed expression here that he's a real good guy, or I guess wall-eyed.
Totally.
I don't know if that is meant to look like that, or if Mowini screwed up, or if Jensen didn't color it right. It looks bad. Anywho, so they show Juice to his room, whereupon he tears all of his skin off and reveals that Sonic was hiding inside him.
I did not see it that way. I'm just gonna say.
I know, I'm being facetious. It's just
Yeah,
funny.
it's just
to
a
say
mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have been funnier if Sonic had just like dyed his hair a different color and claimed to be a different hedgehog.
That would have worked.
Yeah, my name
that would have
is
been
Scorch. I'm orange.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Sonic explains the real Tommy Eternal epic lore, which is that he was an old friend of Sonic and Sally's that was conveniently never mentioned today, thought to be dead until he radioed for help from here.
And Sonic thought he was a geek. Don't forget about that.
Well, he is.
Fair enough.
No, but Sonic was extremely motivated to come here. I assume because of guilt for having treated him like a dork. But the crux of this is that Eggman and Snively are here.
Yep, glad to see they're finally back in business. I was worried they were going to be on the back foot for a while after last issue, but I'm glad they're back and being diabolical as ever. I have to always point out these great lines when Drago is like, "I've come to bargain for the factory," and Eggman's like, "A deal for a factory I used to own? The audacity of such a thing makes my circuit sizzle."
It's funny. And I do like, actually, his earlier line, the little detail that Eggman had to look up Drago's conspiracy with Robotnik since he didn't actually do the Ultimate Annihilator thing.
Right.
I love the angle here that they've got Eggman playing where he's not being deceptive really. He's actually being quite straightforward. The goons are just not very perceptive. Right. Drago is literally just like, "I don't really know what you're saying, but I figure we can make a deal, right?" And when he says yes, like that's the only thing Drago hears is, "Oh, okay, great."
Yeah. Well, and, Eggman, he's surprisingly cooperative. He just agrees to whatever Drago wants. Just shake on it.
Just shake your my hand.
I love that bit of irony. If you've been reading his comics, you know.
Yeah, it's a really good moment, because, they haven't been around. They wouldn't even know that he can roboticize people by touching them.
Yeah, at first my thought actually was like, well, why would Drago do that? And I remembered, the Goon Squad's been in hiding. They don't know about this.
Yeah, I don't even know if the people in Knothole know about it. They probably do, but it's mostly just, the Freedom Fighters.
They probably they probably would know from the Freedom Fighters.
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't warn them, but
Right.
Antoine's dad knew, so I assume they've distributed the information.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so he gets everyone in the squad except Sleuth, I guess, who uses Tommy's shell as a shield. Not sure why that would work to block him, but...
because shells are strong.
Yeah.
Robotization is weird. I love the Robotnik tentacles. Once again, they're having some fun again with this. Like, if you're gonna have the shell looks like a human, at least have the gadgets. It's good as what he's using it for here to deceive them. But then when he doesn't need to be deceptive anymore, just roboticize them all at once. This is great.
Yeah. He also baits out Sonic, who he knew was the rabbit dude the whole time, by asking Eggman to roboticize Tommy, and apparently the whole thing was a trap for Sonic?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about that, because, what was the plan then exactly?
They were going to hand him over to Robotnik. They thought that he wasn't going to accept so readily.
Right.
Yeah, I guess so. Things do not go according to plan, obviously. Sonic basically overpowers them both, because I guess he's fast and strong, so that makes sense. But
yeah.
I do like that he rides out of here using Tommy's shell as a snowboard.
Sure.
Well, I mean, why not?
I want to see a Sonic Adventure 2 mod that replaces the board in City Escape with Tommy Turtle.
I mean, that's gotta exist. That's just a model swap.
That would be easy to do.
I don't know. I mean, people very quickly made a model swap for Shadow boarding on Sonic after that bit in Sonic Prime, but I don't know.
Would not be hard.
Yeah?
Yeah, so the ending of this is a bit odd, though, because Sleuth, mid-roboticization, decides to huck a grenade at them.
Let me just say, this puts Sleuth above the other goons immediately. Like, this is actually legitimately impressive.
Yeah, also,
yeah, it's not too often we see someone actually do something while they're being roboticized.
Yeah.
Well, and also, it's such a fuck you caught mine. He's just like, no, I'm taking you with me.
This is great. Little moments like this. These are what make me like the side characters.
Yeah, and Tommy basically he like flips to get Sonic out the window because he thinks they won't make it on their own. I think the weird thing is that they were going slower with Sonic riding him than they would be if Sonic just ran.
Probably. Well, because I think the idea is Sonic also wanted to, save Tommy.
Yeah, he probably couldn't run as fast carrying him. This seems reasonable enough.
I guess, yeah.
But so Tommy did a heroic sacrifice. It sure is too bad that guy was introduced and died in the very same issue, and we'll never see his generic-ass character design again.
Hey, though, it helped Sonic learn the true meaning of friendship, just like an anime.
Yeah, exploding.
That is what it says. Yeah.
The second time in his life. What was the first time? That's my question.
He said during the part where he's crawling through the vent, he says, "Because of him, I always took care of those weaker than me instead of picking on them. He made me realize what true friendship was." So basically, he's saying, the first time was I stopped bullying you, and the second time was you died exploding to save me.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah, this is not the ending I was expecting. I know this isn't true, but if I didn't know that some of the goons show up later, I would expect this was just the goons are still around, better kill them all off in a big explosion then. And then we'll throw in Tommy just to make it feel poignant or something.
That seems like they're fucking dead now.
The way it comes off.
Yeah. In truth, absolutely nobody dies in this explosion. Like, I know I'm spoiling that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Eggman and Snively, of course, they're not going to die because they can just rebuild their bodies again.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, this explosion literally is 100% a fake out.
Yeah, so it's like, what's the point? Anyway,
Funny.
Yeah. I guess serviceable enough story. It's fine. It's not great. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't dislike the story. I think it's pretty alright, honestly. The Tommy bit is weird, but I expect nothing less from these comics, trying to make you care about characters that were introduced in that story. And like I said, I like picking up earlier plot points, and Eggman is a joy as usual. So honestly, I can't ask for much more. It's not a huge standout, but I see no problems.
They're keeping things simple. It was inoffensive.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at offensive. This is Ultimate Power Part 3. Written by Penders. Supposedly Don Best was involved with the art somewhere, but it really just looks like Penders most of the way through now. The Chaotix rush to the hospital to find an injured Harry, and Gruckles saves his life before going after Mobul alone.
Damn, Gruckles is doing doing more Jesus acts now.
Oh, yeah, healing Harry. So, did I miss something? I didn't, because I looked back and no, I didn't. But we never saw Mobul attack Harry. It actually looked like Mobul
just got out of the cab and went to
find
Dimitri.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, he gave Harry money and then just left.
Wouldn't this get you more attention? Isn't this a bad idea?
Yeah, I thought Mobul was being smart. I feel like they just retconned this moment so that Gruckles could heal somebody, maybe.
It's also weird because I thought Dimitri was in the hospital before, but he's not. He's somewhere else.
Wait, he's not in the hospital?
No, Harry is. Dimitri is somewhere else because they show him on the screen, isn't he?
No, I thought Dimitri was like in a different part of the hospital.
I don't know. It's really unclear. But I assume that since there's Legionnaires around him, maybe it's their tech that's sustaining him.
I guess.
Yeah.
Also, how did Harry get in the hospital? Who found him?
In a story that takes way too long to do anything, it's weird that they just skipped over a detail like that.
Yeah, okay, actually I'm looking now. Remington says, my people discovered a cab driver left very seriously impaired near the hospital. So did he, try to crawl to the hospital?
I don't
know.
Anyway, so Harry's in bad shape, but Gruckles is here to heal him. And Espio says, even if he saves Harry, I wish Knuckles was his old self, Mighty. And me too, Espio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we get a page of Dimitri and Mobul yelling at each other. I'm not sure they say much new, though. It's really just Mogul's holding Dimitri hostage, which we already knew.
I mean, maybe you could see it before, but Dimitri's really having, like, regrets. Like, I'm not sure if that was super clear before. Like, before he was like, oh, we should try to get along. But now he's, like, overtly saying, I can't believe I did everything I did. Like, that was bad. Like, I'm rethinking everything because I'm dying now. Like, literally, he's having his end-of-life epiphanies here, which I did not expect again. Dimitri's really changed lately.
Apparently.
I wonder what Penders thought of the God's Not Dead movies. Yeah, it's definitely better to see Dimitri be a little more apologetic. I would say it's not as much as you're saying, because he still says, I did what I believe to be right. Can you say the same? So he's still using, like, moral superiority over Mogul, because Mogul only cares about survival, apparently.
Well, yeah, I mean, I believe that he would still think himself better than Mogul because of what you just said. So.
Right.
I guess what it is that we haven't seen a lot of Mogul's past crimes, whereas we know that Dimitri was a terrorist and a slaver and a fascist dictator, basically.
Right.
If Mogul was all of the same things, which he might be, I don't know, we haven't seen much of his backstory.
The way I see it is that Mogul doesn't really stand for much. As you said, he just cares about survival. He did rule the planet way back, but after that point, I don't think he's done much other than just try to grasp onto power so he can, like, not die, because he's way past the end of his normal lifespan.
He should have kept the cool shades. But
True.
Anyway, yeah, we get that information a little bit delivered to Gruckles and friends, and then Gruckles basically just instantly teleports to go find them and doesn't bring the Chaotix.
I mean, does Gruckles really need the Chaotix?
I mean, it would just be a risk.
A really long time since we had a big fight scene with a team. You know, the Freedom Fighters used to get into scraps with Robotnik and stuff, you know, where each of them would have something to fight. And we've never gotten that with the Chaotix, and now would have been an opportunity to, since Mogul is probably still strong, even though he's not at full power. But nope, Gruckles has to go all alone.
We got it in the drug arc. I'm not the drug arc. The post-drug arc? I can't remember. There was a bit where they raided a factory. Oh, that was with the crime boss dude or whatever.
Was that all of them? I thought some of them were still in the hospital at that point. I don't know.
Maybe not all of them, but it was a number.
It was some of them, yeah. But Knuckles wasn't there for that as part of it. He was busy with the Lost Tribe.
True. Right.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, so Gruckles teleports, and we get this insert page that basically just says Leon Dodd doesn't want to save Dimitri.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
She really wishes that Mogul and Gruckles could both fail. And she's like, darn, man, I can't find any way to screw them both over, so I guess I'll just wait.
Yeah, it really felt like at some point Penders was building up, you know, that Leon Da would become the more radical leader of the Legion, while Dimitri would either die or, you know, have something of a redemption. And
you mean that's not where this is going?
It's kind of where it's going, but
yeah, it's
really
what it feels like it's going for. But I don't think we're going to get anything that quote unquote interesting.
It's more that production messes and real world stuff would get in the way of Penders doing exactly what he wanted with the story, but other writers would pick up on this and do a lot with it anyway.
Okay, well, good.
It's not an entirely abandoned plotline. We get, frankly, Leon Da is at her best when everybody other than Penders is writing her. You know, big shocker for a Penders character, I know, but
right.
Okay, well, that makes me excited because honestly, I don't know. Actually, I'm enjoying Penders' villains in general more lately for some reason. Now, I was about to say I like her more, but no, I like Dimitri more now because he's actually like changing and not just being a maniac.
I do kind of feel like Penders is at least somewhat better at writing villains.
I would certainly say that's true.
I think it's just that when somebody is a bastard, you don't necessarily need to create too much justification for various parts of them. It's when Penders has the heroes act like jerks that is the big issue. And yeah, I think that Leon Da, especially the fact that she cites an allegiance to Grocke, you know, Dimitri and Grocke were kind of interchangeable for a lot of this comic, but with Dimitri being more different now, her being more in league with her brother makes more sense.
I'm gonna have to not let slide the fact though that the artist screwed up Gaina's eye. It's not robotic for some reason.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I I didn't even remember what that character looked like. So
Well, you also said last week you didn't even think she was going to show up again. So
Yeah, I was surprised to see them
already,
again too.
yeah, so was I. So that already says
she's
like
just Lian
she's
Gai's
not a memorable
secretary.
enough character.
What
Yeah,
was,
pretty much.
what was Remington's secretary in the Star Trek uniform that we saw once?
Oh, that's right.
Like
He did have
Terry
one.
something.
Terry Lou, yeah. Thank you for
Why do I
remembering
remember
that.
that? Why
yeah,
the
I'm
fuck
amazed.
did I remember that?
Impressive.
You haven't been as engulfed in like canon discourse, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, Gruckles teleports into the room with Mogul Dimitri, and Mogul's like, "Ha! But here, see here, I have the plug. I can disconnect his life support if you don't do what I want."
The future is now, old man.
Says the old man to the young man.
True.
Yeah, but that's our cliffhanger. Is either let me suck all your chaos juice out, or I'm gonna kill your new grandpa.
Which I still feel like Knuckles shouldn't really care if Dimitri dies.
I mean, that wouldn't be very heroic, and I do think Knuckles tries to be heroic.
Yeah,
I
when
think at
anyone
this
but
point-
Penders is writing him. When
I
Penders
think
is
that-
writing him, he's a loose fucking cannon.
I think Gruckles' behavior has not been well justified, but if we are being asked to believe it, it makes sense that he would try to save him right now because of what we've seen up to this point.
I guess.
It's whatever. It's always a next time on thing. So
Right.
let's move to next time. This is Sonic the Hedgehog number 118. White backgrounds on the covers now.
Man, these covers look a lot less interesting now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they dropped this after a few issues, and no
I
guesses
can
as to
see
why. It's because it's
why.
really boring to look at.
Yeah.
But hey, we've been promised 3 Titanic tales in one issue, even though they're not any bigger than before. But you know,
Well, I assume that means just like they're momentous. There's a lot going on. You know, they're memorable. Obviously, they're not going to lengthen the issue. This isn't a special.
yeah.
God.
I suppose it's
Thank
not
goodness.
totally incorrect in this case. This Axer art gives us a preview of exactly how crazy things are going to get, with Eggman hiding from a robot Sonic.
Yep, there's that robot
yeah.
Sonic we saw before.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, this is Robotnik's Return, written by Benny Lee and drawn by Stephen Butler.
I'm so glad that this first story is drawn by a competent artist.
Yes, in this story, the Freedom Fighters have a showdown with Eggman in somewhere. Maybe it's New Megalopolis? I don't know.
That is a good question. Not really sure where this is.
I assume it's just his new base. It will be just, overtly
Right. His new
placed
base
somewhere
wherever
later.
the hell it is.
Yeah. But the battle is interrupted when Sonic, Tails, Eggman, and Snively are abducted by aliens.
Yeah, we got fucking little green men now.
Okay, so before I get into that, once again, I like the silver Eggman. He's got like a blue mustache here.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome. But yeah, then that happens, which really takes you back to Karheem of Wheat, doesn't it? It's literally like the same premise. It just randomly abducted. Like, it's bizarre. I always get thrown through the loop when I feel like we're back in the classic, style of storytelling. But
Right.
it's not going away anytime soon, is it?
Not supposedly. And yeah, Sonic and friends are here to fight, but we don't get to fight very long. They get stolen, and I want to note this panel of Sally, Bunny, and Antoine. Where the hell are they? Like, I know we were just talking about, what is this Eggman base?
Yeah.
This looks like they're on an alien planet, even though they're
Yeah.
not. Sonic, Tails, and
Yeah.
Eggman are the ones who got aliened.
I saw this background and it just brought up more questions.
It's almost like maybe the writers didn't know where this was either.
Established where Eggman's new main base is, so it doesn't surprise me that they're just like shit. Draw Cyber City.
Yeah, because when we do get to see New Megapolis proper, when Eggman is established there, it looks similar to this, but they act like they're seeing it for the first time, so...
Oh,
It's
also,
not
I need to mention that they start out with some real stakes here, because Eggman is finally like, oh yeah, I've been holding off long enough. I'm going to totally, raise Not Hold to the ground. So, This starts out strong, and then just suddenly aliens. It's just bizarre.
Oh, I do like they also bring up the fact that apparently this body cannot roboticize on touch.
Right, yeah, because that's how Sonic attacks him directly.
Right, which is interesting because the previous body he built, in the last issue, could.
And I bet that's because that wasn't originally supposed to be the same body. That was supposed to be the one he had before.
That's what I'm now. Now you've explained that makes sense.
That also explains why he says it's taken weeks to build these new and improved bodies.
Right. I read that and I was very confused. These stories are definitely, at least feel like they're out of order.
Well, they are. You can tell that this is one that had to be edited because it's lettered differently. It's lettered digitally.
Right.
Oh, okay. Now that you explained that does make a lot of sense. I just assumed that the writers were like, we've had enough not having Eggman. So they were just time skips. But every time Eggman got blown up, you just skip ahead a few weeks.
Yeah, a few weeks for him to rebuild his body.
It's not a super big deal. Fair enough,
yeah. No, it's not that big of a deal. It's just like, interesting.
But anyway, let's get introduced to the BEM, the aliens that abducted them.
They don't say that name in this story, I don't think.
I don't think they do, but the fact that Devin's bringing them up tells me they're going to appear again.
I've heard that name before.
I think I've read that name somewhere.
You gotta call them something. And I like that they're called the BEM because it's short for Bug-Eyed Monster.
Okay, that's true.
Oh, yeah! I've heard that. I'd also heard that related to aliens before.
Well, and speaking of Bug-Eyed, can I just say, these guys look more like aliens in Sonic than the Black Arms do.
Well, the Black Arms completely clash with normal Sonic characters. These guys definitely look like they belong in Sonic.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You're right. You're right. I complained about the premise, but it does have some of the more recent sensibilities. I do like the design. There's nothing super complicated, but it definitely fits.
No, they look like they're little green men or whatever that look like they belong, which is nice because a lot of the time the original stuff we've seen just looks out of place,
like Kareem of Wheat.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I will say this is an improvement on that, even if I don't like that formula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The point is, these are appropriately cartoonish and have sort of Sonic-like eyes and faces.
Speaking of things that don't look like they belong, skeletons.
Yeah. Every time this comic does that, it's disturbing, but oh well.
Well, this is like extra disturbing.
Sonic's skeleton has the mono eye too, which is weird. Like, that's a stylistic choice. His skeleton should definitely just have two sockets.
Yeah. On the other hand, though, Eggman being a T-800, perfect sense.
Oh, yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome.
Well, and
you would totally do that.
Prepare for that to be the last time you see it. Anyway.
Damn it.
You're jumping ahead.
Damn it.
Jumping ahead.
Let's talk about the experiment. So, the BEM decide, we have something that we want to figure out, and so they decide to launch a simulated Robotropolis, and they decide we're going to pit organic versus machine, but we're not going to do it in the conventional way. We are going to roboticize Sonic and Tails and humanize Robotnik and Snively. Whoever wins the fight gets their original body back.
Ooh, boy, yeah. As soon as I read that, already Sonic and Tails are going to win because they're not going to leave them roboticized.
Uh-huh.
The writers aren't going to do that. But this setup alone tells me the BEM are going to come back at a later point because at some point all of the Robians need to be de-roboticized.
You could see the writing on the wall, couldn't you?
Okay,
I can definitely see that coming. I don't know when it's going to happen, obviously, but I know it's going to happen now because they wouldn't introduce this without a reason. Other than it's obvious that this is how they're making Eggman and Snively human again.
I thought that was the reason, but I guess sometimes you can pick up Chekhov's gun even if you think it's been used already.
Right. The reasoning is clearly twofold. It's A, to make them human, and B, to show that they have the capability to make them human.
Hey.
Maybe I'm not giving this enough credit.
This is probably the best foreshadowing they've done so far, in my opinion.
Hey, it's also a vehicle for cool-ass Mecha Sonic designs.
It is,
well,
and I can always appreciate cool-ass Mecha Sonic designs.
It's interesting because Mecha Sonic basically looks like he did in Mecha Madness, except he's entirely
more or less, yeah.
But we've never seen a Robot Tails before, and he has a spike mohawk.
He has spike mohawk and like helicopter blades for tails.
Yeah, I really like it.
It's cool.
I do wish that they got to be their actual colors, but
that would have been nice. But I can live without it.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have that with Tails. I mean, I like that it switches up the Sonic a little bit.
Sure, but I mean, this is our first time seeing a Mecha Tails. It would have been cool to see both of them with their normal colors, but the chrome does still look cool.
Yeah, Jensen's coloring makes it work, I think.
Oh God, yes. We're getting good coloring work on these comics now, and like it makes them just look so much better. Because previously they were pretty flat.
Yeah.
Even when they had good art.
So we're fighting. Eggman and Snively have these mech walkers, Star Wars chicken walkers. I don't know.
Yeah. So I guess they they are in a simulated Robotropolis.
They are.
So I guess they just got.
They can just summon it, I guess. I don't really know how that works.
I do like though the way this starts is Sonic is like, hey Eggman, wait a minute, these aliens just abducted us and told us to fight each other. Why should we listen to them?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good question.
And Eggman's just like, because it means I get to kill you, and then he just fights. I mean, that's not a direct line, but he says sacrifices must always be made. He doesn't care. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll fight you.
Any excuse to fight Sonic again, Eggman will take it.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I get it, but it's also like, Sonic, you would want your original body back, right?
Well, I'm assuming maybe Sonic's thinking like, well, if we refuse to fight, maybe they'll have no choice but to just cancel the experiment.
There's no reason they can't team up and try to break out either.
Sure.
Like, they don't have to play by their rules.
Sure.
Yeah, I suppose.
This exact situation happened before, although with a different Robotnik, so maybe that's why it plays out differently. And they were able to overcome the alien menace before, so...
Yeah. But, the fight's cool. It's kind of a curbed stomp, to be honest. Sonic and Tails are much harder and more lethal now.
Of course. I love
sense.
this scene with after Eggman launches the missiles while saying sacrifices must always be made, where with Sonic and Tails just walking out of the explosion. Because I guess Eggman didn't realize that their robot bodies are nowhere near as flimsy as his.
Apparently
I don't know how strong those missiles are as part of it.
I mean, I assume they're missiles, so they're pretty strong.
I like the next page where, I think Robotnik is just shooting at Sonic with a regular-ass gun in this panel when he's running away.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
yeah, you can see it in his left hand.
And I also love this panel of Mecha Tails menacing over Snively.
That panel's great. Snively's basically useless now, so Tails can just intimidate him into staying on the ground.
I mean, Snively's been having a bad time this whole time. Only Eggman ever had any fun in this situation.
Well, and Eggman would be... I'd say Eggman's the more realistically able to still deal with this, despite being flesh and blood now, because he's still Eggman.
It's all in the name.
Snively was already useless.
It's all in the name because he goes by Robotnik. Everybody that goes by Kintober still, just a life of suffering.
Fair enough.
Anyway, so yeah, it's a fun fight. Sonic's got, laser infrared eyes and gets Eggman with a net.
Of course, they're not going to kill them, because,
Of
course. Well, that makes sense. Sonic and Tails aren't murderers. This isn't anti-Sonic. Actually, I was going to say this isn't anti-Sonic. I don't think anti-Sonic has the balls to kill someone.
That's true, honestly.
He'd be more like, give me some money.
Yeah, he just mug you.
So I do have mixed feelings on the ending, which is that Sonic wins the trial, and Eggman hilariously notes, this proves that robots are better than organics.
I love that. I love that.
That is interesting.
That's what he would get out of this.
Of course.
But instead of like seeing much of the result of that, we just kind of hard cut to everyone back on Mobius.
Yeah, it's a little anticlimactic that we just cut back to Knothole and Sonic explaining. It's like it's almost like the entire story was actually just Sonic telling the story, because it ends with Sonic saying, "And seriously, that's how it went down."
Yeah.
I think they just really wanted to include the entire fight here.
I guess, yeah.
Because and then they ran out of time. They're like, we'll just finish it up. And honestly, I don't mind that.
I mean, why not just get rid of the second story and make the story longer?
No, because you have to have 3 Titanic stories.
I don't want 3 stories, though. This next story has him in it.
Fair enough. Let's not get there yet.
We don't have to get there yet.
I think I mostly just wanted to see a little bit of the BEM's opinion of all that. Like,
well, yeah, A, I'd like to see what the BEM say, and B, we're not going to see the process of de-roboticization or whatever.
There's a whole long winding tale as to why they were even doing this experiment in the first place. So.
Which I am very curious to see at some point.
So, yeah, from this, I would not have guessed there were anything more than a one-off. Like, they don't seem like more than a one-off. In retrospect, I guess it seemed like, it's being abrupt. I just thought there's nothing to it.
Well, yeah, so the fact that this kind of abruptly happens, I can see why you would think, like, oh, yeah, this is just another one-off. But the fact that...
Flesh, yeah.
Right, but but Eggman being turned to flesh now is what tells me that, no, this is not a one-off. This is totally being played up for, at some point in the future, de-roboticizing the Robians.
That's very insightful of you. I can see that.
The fact that it is an experiment, the fact that they are trying to gain knowledge for something is what does it for me. If they had... Yeah. Because you could have done this where they kidnapped them and maybe they performed, like, tests on them of various types, like, comedy stylings almost. Even as close to what Kareem of Wheat did, ironically. And then they were like, hey, this one's a robot, change him back. And then they just let them go. That would signal to me that it's like just a one-off to get him fixed.
Right, but the fact that they're saying that they clearly had a very specific experiment they wanted to run.
Yeah, but...
I mean, I again just think that it already served its purpose, which was to make Eggman human. Okay, let's talk about that. So, lame... No, what the heck? They were having fun with Eggman.
I see the reason why they did it.
You get to run through cyberspace, and they're even using the silver design again.
So, to be fair, though, there's nothing preventing Eggman from re-roboticizing himself.
So, yeah, this is only because I know that he doesn't.
Yeah, I figure he doesn't, because they wanted to make him human again.
He easily could have, but the fact... Even if I didn't know, I could have guessed that. Because this is obviously another step closer to the game canon, because they keep doing that every few stories. So kind of getting on my nerves a little bit.
Well, so that just happens because SEGA mandates, I assume.
I mean, I don't know. If this doesn't seem like a major deal breaker to me. I could be wrong.
It's difficult because... The whims of SEGA are so hard to understand as part of this, because Pandas can absolutely wreck shop in terms of destroying canon and things that we thought made sense in the games, and SEGA is just like, yeah, whatever, it's the Knuckles story, it's not Sonic.
Right, I mean, well, that's the reason why he was able to do that, it's because he was doing it to Knuckles.
But then SEGA can also enforce really weird standards on things. The fact that, we were talking about the finger counts, that was something that SEGA was like, no, you can't have Sonic with 4 fingers, he needs to have 5. And maybe Robotnik being a human is part of it. I don't know. I
guess there's no way for us to know all of this information.
Yeah, and I get Lauren's frustration with making him a human.
Oh yeah,
Robotnik, Eggman in the main timeline, our game's canon. He was always a human, and that makes sense because he doesn't necessarily need to believe that machines are superior to humans or to himself. But the problem is that Robo-Robotnik definitely believes that. He is a different incarnation of this character.
Right.
And so, if it helps, he's actually not willfully foregoing roboticization. But they don't say why he can't just do that in this story.
Right.
Okay, well, I mean, that'll make it a bit better, I guess. I know they do say that they can't track him now, so I understand why he would do that temporarily.
That does make sense.
Maybe they'll explain in a satisfying way, long term. But yeah, no, that's exactly the thing, is that I was actually surprised more, especially recently, with how they were actually acknowledging this was Robo Robotnik, because it goes all the way back to 75, where it's just a little pet peeve of mine, where they just act like it's the same character, and so it felt like they were really doing good and serving Robo Robotnik well. So this feels like a step backwards.
I mean, that's a totally fair take as far as I'm concerned.
I think if they had to do this, again with Bruce talking about cutting out parts of the story, if they had to do this and they cut out one of the middle stories, having a scene where Robotnik tries to roboticize himself again and fails would help.
Right. Yeah, definitely. There you go. Say for some reason he can't roboticize himself, and he has, and make that a small mystery that we can solve in a couple issues.
Well, and actually it'll be not till next week, maybe? But anyway, yeah. So, mostly an okay story, but mixed, very, very mixed opinions on the ending.
Agreed.
So let's talk about that second story that Bruce wants gone so bad. This is Heart to Heart, written by Ballers, drawn by Ron Lim. Finally healed from their nanite infection, Jeffrey and Hershey reflect on their time in service to the Acorns, I guess. It's pretty low-key.
Yeah, I mean, this story twofold why I think I want to get rid of it. A, it's got Jeffrey in it, and fuck him. And B, it's really inconsequential.
I half agree. I think that...
Or at least it feels that way.
As far as stories featuring Jeffrey go, you could get a lot worse, because this is still Jeffrey, and he is at least a clearly defined character.
He is, but he's still not, in my opinion,
a dick. That's just part of his personality.
Right, Jeffrey
I
is
wouldn't have it any other way.
Dick at the end of the day, just a dick. Also, a lot of the art in this story is almost uncanny valley level.
It's a little weird, especially Big Head Sally in a couple of these panels.
Well, and bottom left panel on this first page, Rotor's got 1,000-yard stare, staring directly into my soul.
He's got that weird wrinkly neck thing going on again that I don't
Well, he's also not looking at Dr. Quack. He's looking directly at us.
I did not notice that, but now that you pointed out.
I assume that's him looking at Hershey, but it's not out of her perspective because it's not tinted green.
No, he's just staring into the fucking camera, and it's kind of scary.
This is Ron Lim communicating, I don't want to work on this.
Man, me too, Ron, me too.
Anyway, so they're healed from poison nanites, and Sally's like, well, good job. And you guys were, I think, so they were trying to leave before they got poisoned. And so they are doing that now. So Sally gives him some kind parting words, but Jeffrey he's actually feeling a bit guilty over everything that's happened. We get an actual 2-page diatribe about how, man, I've kind of only made things worse, haven't I?
Hey, at least he realizes that.
Gonna have to say again that the writers, despite actually remembering a lot of stuff, keep screwing up little details. Original Robotnik has shadow swap bots for some reason.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, so Jeffrey's feeling a bit remorseful over all this, but Hershey's like, no, don't worry about it. I like you because... Well, I like you. Don't worry about justifying
it. I mean... These characters don't show up very much, so I don't really care. But I mean, I don't really care about the characters either.
Right.
So,
well, trying to create a relationship between them now feels kind of. I don't want to say sudden because in the back of my
they hinted at it before.
Yeah, the back of my head, I know I've noticed previously that they seem to be hinting towards Jeffrey X Hershey, which at least she's an adult.
As we've
it works. It works.
I think what it is just that, good couples in most fiction, you have a strong impression of why they like each other, and here I can believe that they would. But
I think they've worked together for long enough now that they've developed something for each other.
But exactly what traits they see in each other are pretty vague. Whereas Sonic and Sally at their best, which I guess was mostly in Sat AM, but or especially the best of Bunny and Antoine, you get the impression that
no, I can see it with Bunny and Antoine, and for the most part with Sally and Sonic and Sat AM.
In Sat AM, you specify.
Yeah, I gotta specify in Sat AM. In this, I don't fucking know.
Well, they've completely ignored that in favor of just petty drama lately, so...
Yeah.
Right.
So it's whatever. But yeah, so these two are an item now, and they are going to stay that way pretty much for the rest of the series.
Cool.
So now they are setting out, hoping to track down Elias, which, I don't know, that seems like a regression from what we want to do. Shouldn't you just leave him alone?
I like
mean,
that...
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Yeah, the king just doesn't care. He's like... Well, he did say to be left alone, but I don't actually care at all about that. So go ahead. Like, there's no justification. They act like it's justified. He's like, oh, maybe it's time for the family to be reunited. That's literally just code for bring him back. Do it.
Pretty much.
I command you. So yeah, he hasn't changed. Of course not.
If I bug the Secret Service for any reason, it's to violate my child's privacy by any means necessary.
Jesus Christ.
That's not how the king's voice sounds. Don't worry about it. So yeah, they're setting out. That's their mission. But that's okay. It'll have them out of the way of the main book for right now, at least.
I mean, I don't mind it. It's not the worst thing. It's
yeah,
fine.
It is. Yeah.
It's whatever.
Yep.
Let's see something decidedly a bit less whatever. This is Ultimate Power Part 4. Pender's writing and drawing all over what used to be Don Best's artwork.
Right.
Gruckles has to either let Mobul use the siphon on him, or Dimitri dies, or maybe there's a secret third solution that is even dumber.
Definitely.
Yeah,
it's like, we've got this ultimatum, and I want to just note, your choices are use the siphon or Dimitri dies. I guess Gruckles chooses Dimitri dies because he goes to attack Mobul.
No, that's the secret third option. Kill Mobul.
I'm sure that Gruckles is planning to just get him before he can activate the switch, which is exactly what he does.
Yeah.
Well, in a roundabout way, sort of.
Right.
It's hard to know because he advances toward him and then he does something big and green that they show on the screen, but what did he do? Because Gruckles does something green, and then the Dark Legion is watching him, and they're like, oh, damage control reported. All stations reporting minimal damage. We're showing strong chaos energy readings. But then the very next page, we just have Mobul about to press the kill switch. What did he do?
It was a flashbang.
Was he just like Dragon Ball Z powering up to show his power level?
I guess.
That makes as much sense as anything.
It's possible that he attacked Mobul and Mobul just wasn't hurt because he's used to that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, so it's also weird to figure out like what happened next because Mobul presses the kill switch, but then everything turns green, which would suggest to me that they're using the siphon. So is he killing Dimitri or is he turning on the siphon? I guess it must be both.
You really think Mobul would actually do what he's claiming he would do?
No, absolutely not. Mobul hates Dimitri and wants the power, so he will get both regardless.
He's gonna kill Dimitri because
and steal Gross's power. I get that. I just mean did the same button turn on them both at the same time?
Why not? Same buttons.
Yeah, I guess. Gruckles says this whole room must be a chaos siphon. No clue how that works, but okay.
Why not?
I do not know how Mobul rigged that up. But I guess
I guess that does mean that they're not in the hospital because there's definitely no way he could have rigged that up in the hospital.
No,
they're somewhere else.
Are looking at the green light from out a window. So
wait, window? I thought it was a screen.
No, the Dark Legion has screens. Sorry, I must have mixed that up.
Oh yeah, it is a window. Just I didn't see the top window, so I thought it was a screen.
Yeah, so I have no idea what this building they're in is. I think it's just where Dimitri was staying, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, maybe it's that the same thing happens to both. I guess if you use the Chaos Siphon on Dimitri now, that might also kill him.
Oh yeah, that would definitely kill Dimitri at this point.
Yeah.
So maybe it's all just one mechanism.
Yeah, maybe he just wants to kill both of them with one button.
It works. Or it would work if the Gruckles didn't explode again, of course.
Yes, so we have...
Finally, he explodes again.
We have dramatic narration, and Knuckles is like,
Not when I go into maximum overdrive!
basically.
He decides to unleash all of his power and overload the system.
Yeah, he blew up for the final time.
This kills the echidna.
Holy shit, Nichols is dead.
Allegedly. As far as Gruckles explosions
allegedly.
go, this one actually ranks pretty high because the page where he blows up, everyone looks like freaked out, except Leah Daw, who just looks annoyed.
She looks bored.
She looks bored as hell. Everyone else looks like this is some cataclysm.
Yeah, it's...
So that's great.
And hey, you know, the previous two Gruckles explosions we didn't have clear reasoning on. At least he's doing it on purpose this time.
That's true, too.
Yeah, so definitely in the upper tier of Knuckles explodes moments. But no, really, he's dead. Remington and Leondaw find Knuckles' corpse in a pile of rubble after the incident.
Holy shit,
if you're
Nichols
telling me
fucking dead.
He's temporarily dead, I might believe that.
Well, I don't think he's actually dead. I'm guessing more so he's dead right for now.
He's Dragon Ball Z dead. You know, it's
real
he's
death. Dead-ish. He's
it's real
dead-ish.
Death, but it's not gonna last.
It's real death, but you can be revived, you know.
Okay, that makes sense if that's what you're saying.
And yes, this means that he died sacrificing himself to save Dimitri, which seems a bit of a stretch, but whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you could also just say he was trying to stop Mobul, so...
Yeah,
I guess,
he was.
Yeah.
So can you explain to me that there's a little thing here. Leonda shows up because she has to check if Dimitri's dead. He's not, unfortunately for her. But Remington like addresses her, and she's like, oh, "If only he knew who he was truly addressing." What does she mean? Does he not know who she is?
Has the identity of the other members of the Dark Legion been like identified by
I know what this is. Did I explain that piece of withheld information that fucking Benedict lorded over Remington in the election story?
I remember that. I did they resolve that and I forgot?
I don't remember you explaining it.
I don't know if I ever said what it was. Henders himself didn't. It wouldn't be revealed until Flynn years later, but it is the same explanation between both.
Oh, okay.
Do you guys want me to tell you? It doesn't matter very much.
Sure.
It doesn't show up in the story. It's just explained on the side.
I think it shows up, but it's like a random aside that doesn't matter very much.
I'm fine.
I don't care.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kragok is Remington's father, so Leonda is his aunt.
That's
interesting.
Mildly underwhelming.
I don't know how that makes sense, but because
that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense
for a while. But
that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But fucking whatever.
It's whatever.
Whatever.
So that's why that line's in there.
Okay. Well, thanks for the explanation.
Yeah, thank you for the explanation. At least that's interesting.
Honestly, in this story, the more wild thing than that is this next page, because people are being informed of Knuckles' death, including Lorelei here, in the midst of an existing ceremony to change the name of the island to align with SEGA canon.
They just can't stop doing it.
Jesus Christ! Why does it have to be done right now?
This issue is, 2003? And they still were calling it just the Floating Island until now. They rename the island after Angel Law, the mother of Edmund, to Angel Island.
Well, also, why wouldn't the Echidnas already have their own name for the island?
Yeah, it's just the Floating Island. That's what.
It's like they would have their own, not endemic. I don't remember what the right term is, but their own native term for the island.
It's like if you go up to Portland and people are just like, "Hello, welcome to city."
Yeah, welcome to the city.
Which I guess is what Sonic Forces does with its city location, but
I legitimately did not realize that the official name was the Floating Island until Devin pointed it out to me.
Yeah, no, I mean I've been calling it Angel Island because I refuse to call it just the Floating Island.
Yeah.
It's not even a name, so...
No, it's a nothing name. It's a description.
As for Lauren's thing about aligning with SEGA canon, it's more that this is just incredibly stupid and pointless to do right now, and not just have them retcon it. Like, if they had just started calling it Angel Island...
I mean, that makes more sense to me.
I don't mind that. Yeah, they could have done that. That would have made a lot
more sense to me.
It's this whole... We're interrupting the plot to bring to you a slight adjustment of the canon.
It just seems like it just makes no sense for this to be happening right now.
Why do we even need a ceremony? Like,
if you want to do it, that doesn't surprise me that Penders wanted to do it as a Senate ceremony.
But like, I'm thinking like, do they have like ceremonies when like state flags change?
I don't know. I mean, they could. But...
Yes, sometimes. I think it depends on the context.
Okay. Anyway, so very silly interruption, and it makes it unintentional comedy when you have this silly thing to like, oh, make it like the games, and then anyway, hey Laura Leigh, your son is dead.
Yeah, your son, your uber powerful son just died. Congratulations.
That's it. That's the end of the story.
That also brings up an interesting question. Who's going to be the Guardian now?
No, you know what? Laura Leigh is pregnant.
That's true. Oh. She is.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Wait, but does it have to be? It has to be part of the lineage, doesn't it?
It does, and her current baby isn't. So,
Locke, you need to fuck.
Well, I assume we just revert back.
Just take the role.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I assume we'll just revert back to Locke, which God help us all.
Yeah, Locke needs to grow his own test tube baby.
Needs to irradiate another child's egg.
Yeah, you do it from the start. You grow it, cut
like
out the middleman of a mother.
But like that is a legit question. I honestly just thought of, like, Knuckles doesn't have a child or anything, so.
Well, actually, this would be a convenient time to suddenly say, "Oh, maybe he does."
If Knuckles has a child,
to travel back in time again.
You know what? Fair enough. It would actually.
Although what Lauren's saying, I totally could see Penders trying to write like a horrible story about like teen pregnancy with Knuckles and Julie Sue. I'm glad that never happened.
I mean, they already did drugs, so why the fuck not?
Actually, Sonic Mythbusters moment. I sometimes see people parroting a quote that is made up about Penders writing like an abortion story into these comics. That's not true. That never happened.
Wait, what? That's a horrible fucking
people like to joke. I think somebody made it up as a joke, but people genuinely believe that Penders had a cut storyline about that.
I would believe it.
I know of a different cut Penders storyline.
The story about Sally and Jeffrey having sex is right. That's something he straight up admitted. But
I knew about that. But like the abortion thing, well, that also doesn't track with what he's claimed about these comics' primary demographic.
Well, neither does half the shit he's written. Anyway,
of course it doesn't.
All right. Let's push forward. Sonic number 119, classic bro pose. Here we go.
It is a bit back to the classic era, because now you have the vertical strip on the left. It does look like a zone intro here on the cover. It does,
yeah. Kind of neat. That is kind of fun.
Yeah. And frankly, the first story here is pretty simple, too. We've got some nice Axer art on the page of the train, and, this story is called Caterkiller's Coming, written by Benny Lee and drawn by Ron Lim, wherein Sonic and Tails rush to defend and evacuate Mobian settlements from Caterkiller, an enormous and deadly high-speed armored train.
That's not a fucking Caterkiller!
So, I saw you post about that earlier this week, and at first I was like, maybe you're right. But, when I read this, or rather than just looking at it, I'm like, oh, well, this actually makes perfect sense.
Well, because to be fair, I think Eggman does call it a Caterkiller V2 or something.
Yeah, he's
modified, or like an improvement. My latest version of Caterkiller. I don't care though. It's not a Caterkiller. It's a train.
I mean, it doesn't resemble Caterkiller at all, but this is the same dude that made the giant, bulky SWAT bots shadowy. So he looked at Caterkiller and said, let's do this.
I will say this. It does have the body links of a Caterkiller.
It's just enough. Yeah.
So if it had Caterkiller's face, would that make you feel better?
Yeah. Then it would be a giant Caterkiller.
Yeah,
And make it purple also.
It'd be an awesome foreshadowing to Sonic Lost World.
Oh yeah, that's right. That game has a giant caterpillar.
Many, and they're like girly. It's really weird. Anyway, Sonic is in a town called Furville. I have no idea what this place is or where it came from.
I hate that name so much because it's so lazy.
It's a chat room where you can GIF.
It does kind of sound like a chat room, actually.
It's really weird. The citizens here seem to not know that Robotnik died and came back.
They barely seem to know who Sonic is. Like, he might as well be a celebrity.
And not a popular one. It's really weird, because, like, did this place exist before Mobotropolis got retaken? Because, like, you get the impression in the early stories that there's not much, of the world left.
Which clearly, that's not true. There's clearly... there's Mobian society all over the planet, and like I guess the way I kind of interpreted the idea was that Eggman just kind of he was on maybe not a full global scale controlling things, but he had like pockets around the world.
I suppose.
Robotnik.
Or Robotnik, not Eggman. Robotnik, excuse me. Yeah.
No, this Eggman hasn't been doing a whole lot.
This Eggman's been biding his time, more or less. He's been doing some stuff, but, like, to me, Robotnik, it felt more like he had pockets and bases around the world, but didn't have full control of the entire planet.
That sounds right to me.
Because if he had full control of the entire planet, most of the Mobian population would have been roboticized. Right, and seeing stuff like this tells me clearly that's not the case.
I still think they'd have to know that there was a new Robotnik and that he wasn't still dead.
I mean, they don't even know who Sonic is. I don't know.
Very isolated community, I suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have the Caterpillar train, a giant armored train of death, which is kind of cool.
It is cool.
I like it.
It just shouldn't be called a Caterpillar.
Sure. So Sonic evacuates that town, and the train destroys it basically in one move. And
cool, Sonic! You still made all those people homeless.
What, as opposed to dead? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Where the fuck are they gonna go?
Well, I don't know, but better not dead.
Agree to disagree.
Okay. I want to note that Sonic is running by this thing, trying to get to the next place that it's gonna kill, and it displays a hologram of Eggman, who's like, "Oh, I'm sending it to Knothole next, baby."
Yeah, there we go.
Editor's note pisses me the hell off because it says, "Now that Robotnik's human again, he remembers the location on." Hold the fuck on. Okay. The most obvious mechanical problem is that that's not how knowledge works.
No, it isn't.
The other problem is he doesn't know where Knothole is.
Okay, so I'll address the first one because it has an explanation. The second one doesn't. The first one, it's because of the virus that they used to delete Knothole from the systems. It's a computer virus. It won't affect him if he's a human. I'll accept that. That's how he remembers Knothole. But the second one, they built a giant castle in the woods. It's quite obvious to me that Eggman was ignoring Knothole, and now he's gotten annoyed enough that he's going to totally attack, and he just keeps getting closer.
Well, and here's the thing: this is all Justin Gabri doing this. This is the editor doing this. I don't know if Carl Ballers was ever under the impression that Eggman didn't know where Knothole was. He was just, if you remove this editor's note, there's no problem here. Is the thing.
Right, no, Eggman, he was too busy doing other things to be concerned about Knothole at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because it was a plot point, I do think he doesn't know exactly where it is, but I don't think he was under any illusion that he couldn't just go and find it because it's not hidden at all.
Yeah. So, good job, Gabri. You made things worse again.
I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly.
It's
it's
very minor.
It's still annoying.
It's a very minor.
At least they're not pointing out that zones are those zones from the action games anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, Tails is here to help in a yellow plane. Not sure which one this is.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not even gonna try to know.
He and Sonic drop out of the plane. I suppose. I guess it's just gonna go crash.
Yeah, Sonic Hero style.
He says it's run by computer software, so... Or,
wait,
train, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, there you go, then.
Yeah, they're just going to crash the plane, you know. They can build another one, it's fine.
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, Sonic Cruise. So Sonic does the stupid vibrate our molecules through the wall shit to get inside.
Oh
I love and hate the fact that he's doing that. It's so stupid.
I mean, it is funny how stupid it is, I guess. But yeah, we're still doing the makeup dumb powers for Sonic thing that are vaguely related to being fast.
Well, yeah, to be fair, that's a pretty standard power from the Flash, or I think from most speedsters in general. So, it's not that surprising that Sonic would be able to do it as well.
I think Sonic has even done it before in these comics.
He has done it at least once. It is. Oh yeah, it's totally dumb. I'm not saying it's not dumb, but it's also funny.
Because the thing is, just it's not like you need this to get in. So just have a hatch.
That's okay. That's a big thing. Is that you didn't need to write it this way. The problem
I would assume. Well, so I would assume Robotnik built this probably before he was turned flesh and blood, so he could probably just interface with it from outside. So he had no reason to go inside of it.
Yeah,
Tails could have been smart and figured something out.
Remember, Tails isn't fully smart yet.
He's the one who saves the day here, though.
I know, and this is why why my first question about this story is Tails finally going to be the Tails from the games? And you still haven't answered my question, Devin.
That's because I don't totally remember.
He's getting closer, I guess, at least.
He's getting close. Yes. Well, I mean, I asked the other day, and you could have just answered with a yes or no.
Well, because I don't remember. Anyway, yes. Either way, this is Tails' win, because he goes and he reprograms Caterpillar to send it over a cliff.
I do like seeing Tails getting a win. That's fun.
Yeah.
Also, they escaped, so did they just vibrate through it again?
That's a good question. We don't see them get out.
I assume that's what they did, so...
Yeah. Although, they do say that Sonic gets really tired after doing that, so maybe not. Yeah. Maybe Tails was smart.
I mean...
and did something. I don't know.
I just want to see, smart Tails.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to get it here, because we end on this really weird and awkward, long gag where Sonic makes a kind of lame pun and Tails either doesn't get it or acts like he doesn't get it to mess with him.
It really could be either one, so...
Yeah.
It's really weird. I don't get it.
It's just a lame joke. It's warranted a whole page, apparently.
Bizarre end to a bizarre story. Anyway, here's Bunny exploding for some reason.
Oh yeah, it's a Bunny-focused story. Nice.
We've gotten at least one that I can remember.
Yeah.
I think we've gotten a few.
We've gotten
but
I'm sure we've gotten more than one.
Common.
Yeah. This one is Dust Bunny, Ballers and Butler. Bunny is shot down when following a distress signal, only to find herself in the company of the Sand Blasters.
Yeah, I think you mentioned these guys last week when we talked about the sword being given up. I couldn't. Yeah. I was so surprised to see them back so soon after
it was kind of funny that they came back up literally the week after you mentioned them.
Yeah, that was a coincidence. I didn't remember the story.
Right. I mean, I figured it was a coincidence. It's a funny coincidence, though.
Yeah.
Well, it actually points to maybe you're right that they really were planning something with the BEM, because it would be really convenient if they had the sword. I can't remember the reason Bunny comes here, but she could have anticipated that, and Sally could have come along.
There's a distress call.
Okay, Sally could have come along because they know about the Robians. It would have been logical, but no, they don't have that anymore. So.
Yeah.
Right.
And really, most of what this story determines to us is that Jack is a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's an asshole. There.
Well, it's like, in the original story with him, he keeps Sonic and Tails prisoner all that time, but it's because they idolize Sonic. But here, it's, he's grown to hate them so much that he sends out a beacon as an attempt to lure Sonic, but also decides he's just cool murking Bunny because she's friends with him.
Which, I guess are they that disconnected from everything the Freedom Fighters have done? that they think they can murk any of them.
Well, it's like if you're gonna smack
If you're
someone
gonna,
around just
yeah, if
for
you're gonna
being
catch anyone, Bunny's probably the worst one.
yeah, she's the one who should
Because
be most
she's,
sympathetic to you.
yeah, well, she's also, well, the most sympathetic. She's also probably the most powerful of all of them, probably even more so than Sonic.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but she's definitely the most dangerous
Uh,
besides Sonic.
I get maybe besides Sonic. I don't know. I feel like she's got more raw strength than Sonic.
That's possible.
Either way, I think this guy is just totally gone nuts.
Yeah, he's probably just lost it.
I think that's the idea. I mean, Sonic left him for dead, and the whole city for that matter. So like he's just gone crazy for revenge, and I think that's illustrated quite clearly when Bunny is pointing out that, like, dude, you betrayed us first. That's the only reason this happened to you. And then he's just like, whatever. That's his entire response. And he keeps going.
Yeah, and he sicks a load of still mindless Robians on her. Which she proceeds to tear through like crazy. She is pissed in these images.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't blame her.
And, well, she breaks out and basically just sicks the same robots on Jack and his boys. So, good. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, it's funny that they brought this guy back and he just hasn't changed. He's only gotten worse, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, hey, gave Bunny a win all on her own, and, didn't need Sonic to show up and tell him, hey, you shouldn't be fighting.
Right. Yes, that's nice.
Yeah. But don't worry, we still have more. I really wish we were at 2 stories per issue. It's
really making these stories cramped.
Yeah. But this one is Time Code, starring Rotor and Nicole. Ballers and Mowini.
Wow.
Rotor attempts to hack into Nicole and see where she came from. But yeah, that's not a combination you see leading many stories.
That's true.
You don't even see much of Nicole these days.
I feel like for a little while we saw her fairly often, but now we just see her every so often.
Yeah, it's pretty rare. Yeah, he's trying to figure out what's up with Nicole because she did crash down in a frigging sky orb.
Right.
Yeah, that was forever ago. This is really something I did not expect them to follow up on.
I mean, I can understand why they would, because her origins, at least to the main characters, are pretty mysterious.
Yeah, and I'll say this: I like the character interactions with this, with Rotor trying various different things to find out, and Nicole becoming increasingly sort of sarcastic and messing with him.
Right.
Yeah, this I had the same thought. It totally fits. Yeah, she's just like totally cool with Rotor trying to hack her. She's like, yeah, have at it.
Yeah, go ahead and try, bud.
Like, I'm confident that you can't.
Yeah, exactly. This fits right in with the Nicole from Sad AM, honestly.
Oh yeah. Well, this is the first time I think we've really seen this Nicole act like Sad AM Nicole.
Well, it's her being independent from Sally is what it is.
Right. For the most part, what we've seen of Nicole in the comics has been very robotic.
Right.
Yeah, she's just Sally's magic calculator, but
right. Right. She's Sally's PDA.
Yeah, but here we reestablished that Nicole is from Penders's Sonic and Sally are King and Queen future.
I almost expected them to change the explanation. But I mean, no, that's still a thing apparently.
I feel like you can't really change that explanation because
these comments can be very strange.
I mean,
you could have said that she came from somewhere else and then went there, like there's multiple hops or something.
You could just,
I think that, this is a thing that Penders established, and this is a Baller's story. And the thing about Ballers is that he clearly tries to do different things with a lot of Penders concepts. I wouldn't say that he tends to entirely retcon them, like memory hole them out of existence that much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like this is not inherently a bad explanation. It's just, it would need to be fleshed out more than it already has.
I think the fact that it's a stable time loop with a timeline that isn't actually the main timeline's future,
Yeah,
even if Cummings wanted it to be as part of it.
Yeah, I think that is definitely a problem.
Yeah.
And because Rotor built her in the future, that's part of, I assume, what gives him the inspiration to build her in the past. So,
yeah,
he's gonna create the Mobius double reach around virus and bring Lord English into existence. It's all gonna be terrible. The universe is gonna die.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, and we end on Robotnik being frustrated that he can't hack into the security system that Rotor built, inspired by Nicole.
Yeah, just a quick little gag to end the quick little story.
But that's fair enough. That's a good gag. I like that.
Hey, we've got a Robotnik head-shaped mountain fortress, so
yeah. Which I guess is this his base for the moment, or is this just like his summer getaway?
Probably.
I don't know. Well, let's push through to our last issue of the night, Sonic number 120, and yes, it's Mina on the cover. Yeah.
Whatever.
No.
We'll live with
love
that.
triangle time, baby.
Oh boy.
Boy. Yeah, the story here is called "She's Gotta Have Him." They're making no subtlety here. Ballers and Butler. Hoping to get closer to Sonic, Mina decides to join the Freedom Fighters.
Ah, yes. That's the only reason to join the Freedom Fighters.
Okay, before we get into the story, I have to bring attention to this thing on the inside cover.
Oh, Mina in the... What is this kind of dress called?
Either a Chi-Pow or...
Chi-Pow, that's what I was thinking of, yeah.
This doesn't look like a drawing of a Sonic character.
I think part of what makes it weird is that even when Butler is drawing her, Mina is one of the only female characters that's never subject to the human body thing, which will become hilariously apparent in a later part of the story. But Axer is not giving her that same affordance, so his art of her looks weird.
Yeah, so when you mentioned that way back, this was what I was thinking of as the only possible violation of that.
I can see why you'd think that. It is sort of.
Also, her hair is spilling over everything. She needs to get a hair.
Yeah, Mina's hair normally isn't like that. Yeah. Granted, it's usually just portrayed as just a wave down her back.
Yeah. Case in point in the story here.
Right.
Where Mina is fantasizing about Sonic, of course.
Of course.
She asks her Robo Mom, who's I
totally
do
think
forgot Mina had a family.
Yeah,
this is literally the first time we've seen her mom drawn with an actual design.
Yeah, because the last time, I don't even think we actually saw her. She just ran up and said something about seeing her mom.
She was just blended into the background in one shot.
Right. Really this is the first time we're seeing her. Also, I swear, her ears look like they have speakers in them.
They do, yeah.
Okay. That's kind of a fun. Yeah, well, that's kind of a fun Robian design, kind of integrating tech designs into their bodies.
Yeah, they often do that. I don't dislike. I like the design. There you go. Yeah. That's the more straightforward way to say it.
And there's something charming about seeing, a fully mechanized person just, sitting around doing laundry.
Yeah, well, I mean, she is still Mina's mom, and she's fully got her faculties, so makes sense.
And so Mina asks, how did you and Dad meet? And she gives the most generic story possible for these comics, which is, he saved me from the war.
Yeah, and what species is he? He's not a mongoose.
I have no idea.
He looks vaguely like the... I was gonna say he looks kind of like what is it, lightning lynx?
They've both got mohawks, yeah.
Yeah, so...
And bushy eyebrows.
Is Mina's dad dead? Lost?
I assume he died in the war.
I have no idea. I'm not sure he even has a name. Probably not. Actually, I don't even know if her mom has a name.
I think her mom is just Mom.
It's really weird because what her mom says to her is, I was being chased through the forest by enemy soldiers. Let's just say I got your father's attention. Which
is that's kind of a nothing answer.
Yeah, Mina takes that like it's advice. She says, I just have to get Sonic's attention. Which
all right, Mina, that's sure thing, bud.
That's the thing you're asking for advice on how to do, and you didn't get it.
Right.
It's a little sloppy in how it's written.
Yeah, a little bit.
her idea on how to do this is by putting on this dress, this cheap howl, and Sonic is like, "Hey, you look," and then he doesn't care.
Well, he doesn't care because Robotnik.
Yeah, there's a Eggman signal. But then we totally skip over that, of course, because that's not the focus important of this story.
Yeah, that's not the purpose of this story, so therefore it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just kind of funny that she tries one thing, it's at a bad time, and then immediately gives up.
Well, gives up and then goes to basically join the child soldier army.
Yes, so sure. This is the actual plot, which is like, hey,
right.
Well, I'm fast, maybe I can be a freedom fighter. In this hilarious panel that has, well, one, it shows the contrast in body types with Sally and Bunny versus Mina and Amy.
Right.
I also like Amy just standing there in the background smiling, like, what's going on with you?
Oh, and she's so tiny also.
And two, I don't remember which one of you it was that noticed this. One of Bunny's arms is like normal. It's supposed to be recognized.
I think that was Lauren who noticed that. Which that is such a glaring issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so whoopsie there, Butler.
Yeah, whoopsie daisies.
I don't know that was his priority.
Yes, so they're all just like basically accepting, which I don't really know how I would expect them to react. Like, whether they would be like, oh, no, you can't do that, it's too dangerous.
Well, I don't see why any of them would say, yeah, go ahead, Mina, you're good. You know, you don't have any fighting experience or anything. In fact, the only time you had any chance to fight, you wanted to basically kill yourself.
I mean, yes, but also they keep Amy around, and...
Amy's done stuff with them.
Well, so she got to go to Sonic Adventure, but that was
she got to go to Station Square.
That was basically happenstance.
I mean, I guess, yeah. Well, so that was the whole reason why she used the Ring of Acorn, was to make herself at least physically older.
Yeah, but that wasn't why they brought her. It was because they wanted to make sure she didn't screw herself up.
True.
So it's like, I guess if you accidentally get the experience, they're okay.
Yeah, she got the experience, so, you know, she's now, I guess, a full freedom fighter.
Maybe. They haven't shown her in Tails in school for a while.
I don't think the school fucking matters anymore.
I hope not.
So, I don't know.
I don't think this is that unreasonable.
No, I think it's understandable, at least.
I mean, yeah.
So, Mina trains with everybody.
Apparently she does pretty good in training.
It's a montage,
yeah. That's true.
Other than computer programming, which, I kind of get that. It can be a little boring, especially when shit's not working.
Oh, thank God you're a computer science major.
Here's the thing. You're telling me that all the freedom fighters can fly planes, use swords, and program computers.
Yeah, I mean, clearly no. They're running... I think what they're doing is running her through the full... I don't know.
I think it's almost sort of a gauging your ability, see what you
can
I
think that's probably it. Just be like, okay, what exactly can you do to help us?
And I think some of this can be like basics. Like, I would maybe believe that some of them, would at least have the basics of how to start a plane, maybe.
Well, I would assume at least more than Tails can fly. Well, actually, we know Sonic can also fly the plane.
Yeah.
I would assume Antoine.
Sense.
Well, Antoine can also fly.
Yeah, we've seen Antoine fly planes before.
He was the primary pilot for a while. But I mean,
with Rotor, maybe it's you need to know how to maybe hack Robotnik systems.
Sure, I mean,
if we had seen that the whole team was rounded, that would make more sense. But they clearly have roles, so
they have roles. But
Mina Mongoose's solo developed indie game.
I want to say Mina Mongoose with a sword, because defensive sword play kind of implies you have your own sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just kind of dodging his attacks.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and Antoine looks very distressed that she was able to dodge that.
She's too fast.
Did he expect to just stab her?
I think he doesn't want to, actually.
I would assume he doesn't. He's worried that he might accidentally kill her. Anyway, fascinating.
So yeah, training goes okay, but you can definitely tell that Mom is worried. She's not really up for this, and I think Mom knows that Mina's just in this for Sonic.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
realistically, she has no other reason to want to join the Freedom Fighters.
Case in point, actually, she pulls Sonic aside at one point and is like, "Yeah, so I don't think my daughter is actually cut out for this."
Right. Which good on you, Mom, for because these characters have a habit of not talking to each other when there's a problem.
Very, very true.
Yeah.
So the fact that one of them actually did,
because she's not involved in all the drama, so
yeah, well, yeah, fair.
Yeah. And a very convenient thing to say, I don't know if she comprehends the full danger of this. And conveniently, then Eggman attacks.
Yeah, with a giant mech.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was glad to actually see something from that.
Yeah, we actually get to see it, but also like, Jesus Christ, that is.
It's been a long time since Eggman just sent a big robot after the heroes, yeah.
This is very Eggman.
Yeah. Between Caterpillar and this, he's just, let's go big for my invasion. He's just like,
I do have to say,
just throw giant stuff.
I do have to say, I would have preferred if it was the Death Egg Robo, but whatever.
I mean, I don't mind. It's already shown up in these comics.
So. I know,
that's something
but like
modern Sonic comics would do, but yeah.
I guess, yeah. I want to see more Eggman robots from the games. Is the thing.
That's the thing, is that almost all of the machine designs in these comics are not as good as in the games.
Right, and I think that's why I want to see them, because I like the stuff from the games. The Eggman robots from the games look cool, or at least look interesting.
So everyone snaps into action, except Mina, because she does not know what the hell to do with all this, because she's in over her head and is not cut
she's
out
also had she's also had like a single day of training.
Yeah, it sure looks like one day.
Right, so it's like everyone else has had years of experience.
Yeah, so Mina decides, all right, well, the best thing I can do is, and then those kids that she normally babysits are like, Mina, we're scared, what do we do? And she's like, oh, I guess we'll, and then the robot almost steps on her.
I would think that she would at least be able to do something there, because she looks after them. This can't be the only time that, like, some threat has attacked while she's been watching over them. That seems improbable.
Yeah, because Notholes had to deal with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Notholes dealt with plenty of attacks.
Well, and
I don't know. I feel like it's just a matter of the comic trying to show at least Mina being good with something, which is dealing with the kids apparently.
Right. So she should have been able to do that. I feel like I believe that she can't be a freedom fighter, but I think they're actually underselling her here. Honestly.
Yes, she looks up, sees the robot about to step on her, and just totally freezes, and I think faints.
Yeah, apparently
something like that. It would have made more sense for the freedom fighters to put her, in charge of like crowd control, or making sure people like evacuate.
I think what it is that this specific scenario of about to die being stepped on, I could maybe believe, but the problem is this is the only one that you show because she just quits right after this. Because we've seen her in danger before and reacting. She saved Sonic.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, it does not come across. It comes across as basically saying, oh, I screwed up one time this badly, and then I just left.
I mean, I can understand why that. I can understand that. It's like, that's a pretty big screw up.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm conflicted, because on the one hand, please do give Mina more stuff than just being Sonic, but also...
Well, yes.
Or not... You know what I mean. But also, she's only doing this to get with Sonic, so I'm glad that they abandoned that plotline and they realized it doesn't work.
I mean, maybe what they could have done is have that be her initial reasoning, and then as she works more with the freedom fighters, she realizes that this is something she actually wants to be a part of. I don't know.
That would have worked just fine. I think.
That would have been a lot more interesting, and have that be a way of kind of weaning her character off of just being shipping bait.
Or, inversely, have this experience go so badly for her that it makes her realize that Sonic's life is not actually something she wants.
That would also work to kind of stop this relationship bait.
Yeah, but...
Problem is, this just puts us at square one again at the end.
Effectively, yeah.
Well, we're not quite at square one, because...
We're like square 1.5.
Well, no, they do actually tease something here, which is that Sonic hears Mina singing before.
Right.
And he's like, hey, she sounds pretty good. I'm going to go see what's up with that. And this is actually got nothing to do with the romantic plot line, so that's good.
I wouldn't have known that.
I wouldn't have known that either, but like, it kind of seems like that's what they're setting her up to be some sort of singer now. Which, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, so Mina is not. We're not done with Mina, but she is not a freedom fighter, and we have definitively proved that now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, she's good at singing when she's upset, though.
Kind of random.
Yeah, that's oddly specific, but okay.
Well, let's continue on. I would like to say let's finish off, but there's one more story after this one.
Well, we're still finishing off.
Pendra's story being the second in this issue rather than the third is weird. Normally it's the third. But we have Those Were the Days. Pendra's writing and not redrawing Don Best's artwork. It is just Don Best, and it looks good.
Yeah. It looks a lot better.
With Knuckles gone, Mighty and Julie Sue reminisce about their fallen friend.
It's weird that Knuckles is now just gone.
Yeah.
And I don't know for how long, and if they keep having stupid Knuckles stories, I'm going to be angry.
Oh, don't worry. They'll keep having stupid Knuckles stories for at least until next week.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't mind Knuckles being dead, especially this Knuckles. But if they're just going to mope around about him and just do flashbacks talking about, oh, wasn't it so funny when I first met Knuckles and he was a doofus? Honestly,
I mean, he's still kind of a doofus. This
is better than what I've been seeing him lately as anyway, so maybe it's not all that bad. I don't hate Knuckles here, so whatever.
It's a Where's Poochie thing where the fact that they're talking about it so much makes it more obvious that it's not actually going to last.
Mm-hmm.
If they had shifted to just making Julie Sue the protagonist, then that would be something.
They basically did that for a time, so yeah, just do that again.
Yeah, I guess she was kind of the lead in the drug arc, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But right now she is sitting wistfully on that dock where she kissed Knuckles, even though that moment was a little silly. But she and Mighty talk about how they really didn't know that much about the kind of person Knuckles was. Because nobody in these comics talks.
Right.
Mighty recounts his first meeting with the guy, which is directly after escaping that prison camp with Sonic.
Right.
And this does mean, basically, that, we were talking about in the Chaotix special, how every member of the Chaotix just kind of happens at Knuckles.
Right.
And they treat it like it is an introduction, but basically everything since then has been saying, no, he knew them all before that.
Which is weird, but yeah.
It's an annoying push and pull, because on the one hand, their introductions in the Chaotix special are really stupid. On the other hand, the more friends you give Knuckles in his childhood, the less sense his isolation and loneliness makes.
Right.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. We have Vector here too, briefly.
For some reason.
And also an ant observing Knuckles. I don't think that's Archimedes. Maybe
Definitely
it is.
Isn't. I no, because
it isn't. Yeah, he doesn't have the hat. We also did something happen to Archimedes and I just don't remember it?
No, he just hasn't been around.
Shown up in a while.
Okay, alright.
I honestly forgot about him. The like I was saying, these do actually make me miss the good old days where Knuckles was just wandering around aimlessly and Locke was just screwing around from the shadows.
Yeah, it's weird. You're right. I do kind of miss that.
I think it's easy to be nostalgic just for things that happened in the past, assuming they're not traumatic experiences, which I would argue at least that the Knuckles comics weren't, even if they weren't very good.
No, I mean, they at least kept these stories from clogging up the regular issues.
Sometimes.
They weren't so overbearing back then.
Right.
Yeah. Basically, all that this ends up amounting to is that one time Knuckles crashed a plane.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, it feels like if you're going to have a story reminiscing about Knuckles, you should do more with it, because neither of them really seems as sad as I feel like they would. Everybody grieves differently, but, Sonic was wiped out for multiple issues after losing Chuck, and he didn't even die.
It's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think clearly they just don't know how to write it very well.
Yeah. And I like that we end with, next, Vector speaks his piece. So it's like these comics are the pre-funeral for Knuckles until we get to the actual funeral for Knuckles.
Oh boy, we're gonna have an actual funeral.
They have to draw out the funeral arc too.
Oh my
Oh
god,
my
we're just
god.
gonna draw out everything.
I'm surprised that that Laura Leigh and Windmaker's wedding was the whole thing they spent several issues preparing for.
No, that was at least just in a single super special.
Yeah.
Maybe
Anyway.
yeah.
Let's close out tonight for good with the Royal Signet? I don't know how to pronounce that.
Signet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Art Mawhinney and Romy Chacon in his or her second story. I don't know whether to do the fingers for Chacon, because this writer is really weird because nobody knows who they are, which makes you speculate that it's a pseudonym. Some people think that it's actually Gabri writing, but I have no idea. But in this story, we actually have a story about Sally and Alicia and some mementos of Jalela.
Wow, we actually get to see Sally's mom having more than a couple lines in a story.
Yeah, she's been a complete non-entity or a plot device or an extended arm of Max for everything up until now.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so they're hanging out. There's this ring the Queen wanted Jalela to give to Sally before she died, but Sally doesn't wear it because she doesn't want to lose it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I'd say that tracks.
And also it's chained to the inside of her vest this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Right, which, I mean, fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, so today is apparently Jalela's birthday, so they're going to see Rosie.
Yeah.
And man, you know, you would have no idea that this comic is from like 2003 because Mawhinney's drawing style has not changed at all since the early 90s.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I don't mind seeing it.
No.
But it doesn't really line up with the other artists.
Yeah, it's another one of cases where it feels like the story could have gone almost anywhere.
Yeah, I do want to say though, when he's got a good colorist, his art looks a lot more up to date.
Definitely.
I mean, it's just a small little side story.
Yeah, it's just a small side story.
It doesn't need to be anything.
Honestly,
crazy.
this could, if it weren't for the Queen being part of this story could have literally been at any point after Jalela died.
Yeah, case in point, you know, they go to visit Jalela's grave, and it's, you know, it's hard to really be invested because we know almost nothing about this character.
Right.
We do know one thing, which is that she and Rosie are supposed to be cousins, and they're drawing her as a cat again. You got it right. You got it wrong the first time, but then you corrected yourself. Now you're drawing her as a cat again.
It's because they're reusing the art.
Right.
Or actually, I'm not. It might be redrawn, but it's obviously
draw her in the sky at the end though too. So.
Well, consistency. If they're gonna. I can't. I'd have to double check. It may be a redraw, but it's very obviously scenes from that story, way back.
Yeah.
That is funny. Yeah. Whoops. Yeah. No. I mean, she wasn't anything super serious in these comics. Like she showed up for barely at all and then died. But I appreciate they're touching on this. Honestly, I think this is a pretty logical story for the Queen, because
I'd say
would have a connection, and you know, if they're gonna do something with the Queen other than, hey Sally, why aren't you living up to your heritage? Then this is a good anything to do. I think
it is indeed something. I don't feel like it does a ton for the Queen, if I'm honest, but it is more than nothing.
I do find it hilarious though that after they have like a nice family moment, then Sally starts to talk about how Jalela used to try to control her. Like, oh, okay,
everybody does it.
Yeah, bad moments again.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know. It's a pretty low energy thing to end on. It's not terrible, but
I mean,
no, it's just kind of a sweet little thing.
Yeah, it's
fine, I guess. But that is going to be it for tonight. Next time on Deep Dive Zone, some comics that I can call unambiguously pretty great. Some really exciting moments.
All right.
And I'm not being sarcastic.
We'll hold you to that.
But for right now, we are going to be done. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you two for being here. If you like this video, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, criticism, or feedback, you can reach us at the link tree in the description. It feels like I have not said the intro correctly for several episodes now, so I'm glad I got it there. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great night, and take care.